I'm Stuart Burgess, and I'm a professor at Bristol University. I'm a professor of design and nature. I teach students how to design things like motor cars and aeroplanes. Before working at Bristol University, I worked for the European Space Agency, designing satellites and rockets. My main project was designing the solar array deployment system on the Envisat satellites that cost £1.4 billion, and that was very exciting work. I think the question of the ultimate origin of life is really fascinating and important. There are some scientists who believe that life could just spontaneously appear out of a chemical soup, but I know many scientists who believe that that's just scientifically impossible. At present, the evidence is that life can't spontaneously come from a chemical soup, and you need a creator to explain the ultimate origin of life. And my expertise is design, and when I look at the human body, I feel there's great evidence that God has designed the human body. One aspect of design is the fact that we are over-designed. We're designed for far more than survival. If you look at the skill of the human hand or the intelligence of the human brain, we can do so much more than just survive, plant seeds. We can be so skillful with music and art and things like that. Those things, I believe, are just what you'd expect if we were designed by God, who wanted us to be made in his image, to do great things. But our great skill, to me, is not what you'd expect if we had previously just been ape men and lived in caves. It's important to know the limitations of science. Science cannot tell you about the ultimate origins, how life came into being. There's a law we teach mechanical engineers, the first law of thermodynamics, which says that you cannot create or destroy matter or energy, and from that I believe that you need God to explain the very existence of matter and energy. I believe that some of the greatest scientists who ever lived had a faith in God, and in fact their faith inspired their work, and they used to say that they were thinking God's thoughts after him. And I believe that's exactly the same today. I do research on bird flight and design in nature, and I believe exactly the same, that I'm trying to discover God's thoughts after him. I don't believe that science has disproved the Bible. I'm aware of a lot of archaeological evidence that has really backed up the historical stories, for example, of the Old Testament. And I believe the more we discover about science, the more it supports what the Bible teaches.